Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Starting it off, talking about Autism Awareness Month, we want to take the time to highlight Soul Cafe in West Bloomfield, which isn't just known for its delicious menu, it's also a place where purpose and possibility come together. This one-of-a-kind cafe is empowering individuals with special needs through meaningful employment and a culture of inclusion. Civic Center TV's very own Jake Schaff gives us a closer look.
For the last 8 years, this restaurant has been treating customers to great food and a warm, cozy environment to relax. But it's the work they do for their employees that is most worth talking about today. Soul Cafe in West Bloomfield has been well known for their employment of people with special needs, providing them with fun work experience and giving them the tools they need to succeed. It's also provided them with a close community of people they can rely on. So close that some might even call it a family.
We are a restaurant that's part of the Friendship Circle trainee program. What we really work to do every day here is to make a comfortable, safe place for individuals with special needs to come and learn, train, work in a work environment, which is all part of what the Friendship Circle is about. How this developed really was that a lot of the kids that they took such great care of became older, and the parents were looking for something for them to be able to go to and give back and do good for our community. We based our trainee program about the needs of what the restaurant is, and not only our restaurant, but the goal is to find employment elsewhere at different restaurants so that we can continue to grow the program and to continue to train and employ individuals with special needs.
It is a great program. I think that, multiple people with special needs, need a program like this because it helps them and to grow, especially when people are helping them to work and train throughout the whole program. So it helps out, and I truly love it myself. So I think it's a great program. A lot of people don't, have the ability to do something like this, especially when they're special needs, because they need a place to be trained, to work, to socialize. So that's what we're here for. That's our actual part of being part of the Soul Cafe, is to socialize, to work, to help train, and to work together as a big family. So that's my personal feeling about this place.
If you could describe Soul Cafe in one word, what would it be?
We're all about our soul. Really, it's understanding and seeing the beauty of every soul, of every individual, regardless of where they are or who they are. Sometimes that's forgotten. We look at what their outside is, or what the outside looks. But over here, we're all about inclusivity and everyone has a shining soul, and we want to bring that soul out.
It's the kind of place where you can't help but smile every time you walk in the door, as Soul Cafe continues to do great work for the community, and more importantly, continues to change lives as well. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Thank you, Jake, for sharing that powerful story of purpose and partnership. A special thank you to Soul Cafe and the Friendship Circle for their unwavering commitment to making West Bloomfield a more compassionate and connected community. Roald Dahl's Matilda makes its way to the Lakers stage next week, premiering on May 1st at 7 p.m., with shows at the same time on May 2nd and May 3rd, as well as a matinee at 1 p.m. on May 3rd. At the recent school board meeting, Laker actors surprised local leaders and community members with a special preview. Here's a part of that moment.
The detail of my throat was adjusted or forgotten, not even when the hammer left my hands and sailed high up above the stands. Did I let myself go? No, 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 no. If you want to throw the hammer for your country, you have to stay inside the circle all the time. And if you want to make the team, you don't need happiness or self-esteem. You just need to keep your feet inside the line.
Beautiful work of art right there. Beautiful performance, and you can see the full preview in our school board replay on civiccentertv.com. And scan the QR code for tickets to see Matilda at West Bloomfield High School. That'll be next week. That's when you go to civiccentertv.com. You can scan that QR code. West Bloomfield School District proudly recognizes Megan Mueller, a special education teacher at West Bloomfield Middle School, as the April Laker of the Month. Congratulations. Nominated by David Gardner, Megan is being honored for her leadership during Autism Awareness Month and Acceptance Month. She organized a Spirit Week, led school-wide educational sessions, and launched a student-run fundraiser to support the West Bloomfield Middle School Sensory Room. Megan also volunteers with the Student Support Services team and helped revamp the school's master schedule to provide more inclusive academic support. Thank you again to Megan Mueller for your inspiring commitment to inclusion, advocacy, and educational excellence. The Chroma Workshop is designed to help artists explore the power of color, its meaning, application, and emotional impact in visual art. It's hosted at the Janice Charrett Gallery inside the Jewish Community Center. I actually spoke with one attendee to learn how this experience is inspiring growth for local creatives.
A lot of these artists are well established, but it just shows the level you can reach, and that it's so important for younger people to start to apply to these shows. And this exhibit is just one example where there's people here who are very young and so talented, and it makes me joyful.
The Chroma Workshop is a companion workshop to the current Chroma exhibition at the Janice Charrett Gallery. Local artist Stephanie Samuels tells me her inspiration for attending the event is the curator herself.
Kim Fay, I love her work, and this was a great opportunity to learn from her. I believe in continuing education no matter at what stage you're at, and this was so exciting for me. So it's just a pleasure to be here.
Stephanie continues by discussing the motivation behind her art, as well as how community resources helps her to grow in her passion.
I'm an environmental artist, so I try to produce pieces that talk about climate change, but they can be beautiful, but still send a message. And with my titles, what this is about. This is ink on rice paper, and I was just playing around, experimenting, and that's what I do. So I take workshops, or I continue education, or I just get materials at yard sales or estate sales, and I play with them, and that keeps me continually growing.
And a big thank you to Natalie, Amanda, Kim, and Stephanie for sharing their passion and process. To discover more upcoming creative workshops and events, follow the Janice Cherrett Gallery on Facebook at Janice Cherrett Gallery for more. Temple Kol Ami's major spring fundraiser features a renowned Israeli-American comedian and educator who delves into how humor helps Israelis and Jews around the world navigate life's most challenging moments. Here to give us more info on the fundraiser is Rabbi Natalie Shribman and comedian actor Benji Lovett. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I appreciate it. I want to start with you, Rabbi, if you don't mind. Just give us the details of the event for people who are just joining us, the where, when also.
Yes, the event is on May 17th at 7 p.m. at Temple Kol Ami in our building.
Perfect. So that's something that we're looking forward to in May. Now, can you just break down why it is important to feel joy and to laugh right now in the Jewish world?
Yes, right now we've been experiencing many challenging moments as a people and as individuals. And with each successive incident, there are many intense emotions building up inside of us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have these emotions that we can't really share for fear of repercussions based on who we're sharing those emotions with. When we laugh, we're able to open ourselves to whatever we may be feeling and allow these emotions to escape. This is good for our overall health, our community to be laughing together collectively, and good for us as a people.
I would have to agree with that as well. So looking at it from a different perspective, Benji, the comedian, I want to speak from your perspective. How is laughter used in Judaism?
Well, I wouldn't say Judaism, the religion, so much as the Jewish people. Mm-hmm. And throughout our history, we say that we have laughed to keep from crying. And I have to say, it's very important for me to say to people who maybe haven't been to Israel before, I'm in Tel Aviv right now, and there's a war going on, and war is awful. And someone might say, how can you possibly laugh about anything right now? And the best way I explain it to Americans is that if I told you 5 years ago that we would go through a global pandemic and 1 million Americans would die, you would say, how could we ever laugh again? Right. Yeah, we watch Saturday Night Live with jokes about social distancing and masking and senior citizens not knowing how to use Zoom. So we don't laugh at the suffering, we laugh at what we're going through, because if we didn't, we would lose our minds. So I think it's a universal human tendency, but I can say as a Jew that we laugh because it's better than crying.
And that's a good point. And I'm glad you brought up, just like for an example, back in the pandemic and things of that nature, when everything was so different for everybody being in the house and doing things online. So from your perspective, what role does a live in-person performance play in healing or even uplifting the community compared to like online comedy?
Well, you're not going to find a comedian who prefers an online show. And I think if not for COVID, it wouldn't even exist. But comedy's complicated. I don't think most people understand that it's not just an art, it's a science. There's a lot that goes on there. And, there's the jokes the comedian says, but it's really about the relationship between the comedian and the audience. And it's the only art form, really, that depends on the reaction of the audience. You can have a band playing, and it can be background music. If people don't cheer, it doesn't mean they didn't enjoy it. But when you can have that connection and something happens live, unexpected in the audience, and the comedian makes them laugh, magic happens. Yeah. And so many times I've had people tell me, thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for reminding me why it's okay to have fun. A live comedy show, there's nothing like it.
I know, right? As someone who loves comedy himself, specifically even live comedy, I completely understand the reaction time is different, the engagement is different, and it just hits a lot different as well. With us right here live on The Splash, by the way, Temple Cole Amiz, Rabbi Natalie Shribman, and comedian actor Benji Lovett, talking about the upcoming spring fundraiser that features Israeli-American comedian and educator Benji Lovett. Just talking about the event and laughter in general and why it's important. So going to you, Rabbi, I want to just find out, how do you feel laughter fits into this time of year for the Jewish calendar, I should say, specifically?
Right. So the Jewish people just celebrated Passover. It's our collective liberation holiday. And now we are counting our days toward the next holiday of Shavuot, when we receive the Torah. And in between those two holidays, it's a time of wilderness, uncertainty, and we don't know what the future is going to hold. And so when we laugh, we can give ourselves like sustainment and feel ready for the journey ahead. And when we count the days between Passover and Shavuot, we're counting the Omer. This was once a time of mourning, and when Benji Lovett comes to town, it's actually the weekend of Lag BaOmer, when the mourning can be broken for one day and joyous occasions can occur of laughter. So how serendipitous it is to have a comedian who will help us laugh and get in touch with our emotions more clearly for the next couple of weeks of the Omer until Shavuot.
I love that. Makes sense. It's all in divine order. It's supposed to be what it is, and I love to hear that. So continuing on with you, Rabbi, I just want to know, Greater West Bloomfield, we actually pride ourselves on volunteerism and charity. So how do you hope this fundraiser deepens the Temple's partnership with local civic groups and families as well?
I think, as Benji was saying earlier, he lives in Israel and he's experiencing all these somewhat terrible events. And us, removed from Israel, we're just reading about it in the media. And so it's much different to hear about it from the person who's living in these events that are being described. Our tradition teaches us that we are more powerful when we're together. And at times of global uncertainty in our country, in our town, in our own Judaism, we need to be together for whatever reason so we can strengthen our community, our unity as a single community.
Very inspiring and very good to hear as well. Don't want to hold you two up too much longer. Just want to ask you a few more questions before we let you go. And this question I want both of you to answer, starting with you, Benji. What message or messages of hope and unity do you anticipate resonating most strongly with the diverse Greater West Bloomfield audience?
I guess I would say it's okay to laugh. And I've lived abroad outside the States for 18 years now. And, I'm still American in many ways. I'm Israeli in many ways. But the Israeli me realizes that sometimes we're Americans, we're not so great at understanding when we can laugh. And I feel like comedians are often misunderstood. We say, you can't say that, you can't say that, that's offensive. Comedians are really usually not trying to offend. We're usually trying to cheer you up and have a good time. And, I just want to say life is hard. After 9/11, somehow we moved on, and after Corona. And, I don't want to minimize any of the horrible stuff going on here or in the States, but, it is human to cry. It is equally human to laugh. And if we can't do that, then how are we going to have the strength to even keep fighting the good fight? So it's okay to laugh, and it just should remind us that we got to keep going.
I love that response, too. And you too, Rabbi?
So I think that when we're all together, hope can manifest more easily because we have the support of each other to lean on in difficult times. When I've heard about how people are responding to this difficult time in Israel, there's been lots of laughter, memorializing, and remembering. And there can be a lot of creativity in how we do that. And that also can inspire hope. We've seen Israel still continuing on. It hasn't stopped them, this war, and it's made us feel like we are stagnant, and we are still able to continue fighting and giving something to the world. And so the purpose is for us to gather together, to laugh, and even more so just to be together. So hope we can find opportunities in addition to this to be together and to visit with each other as well.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And lastly, just to ask you, continuing on with you, Rabbi, how do you think we continue to use humor and these shared cultural experiences to nurture understanding and resilience across our community?
I think humor teaches us a lot about the place that we're living in and the place that the people who we are with. Once we have found a chance to laugh together, to share that emotion, it's perhaps as if we can understand each other as well.
Same question to you, Benji?
Comedy's magic, you know. I've lived in 2 democratic countries before, and one of the great things about living in a democracy is comedians can make fun of anything, and you can say anything, and you know, if we can laugh together, we can live together. I don't know who said it, but it's hard to hate someone when they're making you laugh. And we can get upset and angry about debate and dialogue, but if we can just laugh, it's, you know, it reminds us that not to take so many things so seriously. There's a lot to take seriously, but we have to also know how to be happy in life, otherwise we will lose our minds.
100% agree with that. And Benji, before we let you go, the details, who, where, when, and why people can see you coming to Greater West Bloomfield in May.
That's going to be May 17th, I believe, at Call on Me. I don't have the time because I'm 7 hours ahead of you guys, but Rabbi, did I get that right?
Yes, 7 p.m.
Saturday night. Awesome. See you there.
Perfect. Once again, thank you both for joining us. We appreciate your time. And thank you so much for bringing laughter to our community during a time it is definitely needed. Once again, from Temple Call on Me, Rabbi Natalie Shribman and comedian, actor Benji Lovett. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll continuously keep our community updated with more activities and more things going on in Greater West Bloomfield as we celebrate laughter and great times. Earth Day is today, and the topics of climate change and global warming are hotter than ever, no pun intended. And how can you keep up to date on the latest information, and what can you do to save our environment and our beautiful lakes? We spoke with local resident Joel Brown, who was appointed as a leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, to give us the answers. Mr. Joel Brown joining Splash. Thank you for being here, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me today.
Man, we appreciate that first and foremost. Ready to pick your brain of all the knowledge that you do have, sir. But first and foremost, I want to talk about a piece of work that you've done and put out there already. It's on YouTube. It's called The Bigger Picture, Climate Change by Joel Brown. Why don't you just give us an overview of what this content actually is?
Well, it's basically to address 2 things. One is to explain that what is going on is one of the most profound moments in history of man,
right?
And to explain what it is and how it works. And then there is the addressing of how one approaches it, finds something meaningful and purposeful in it, and the best way to cope with it, because it's an issue that creates a lot of anxiety in people. And we want to be able to overcome that so we can feel not depressed and anxious, but we will be able to have self-esteem, have active action, be able to have agency, and basically avoid the depression and have enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well said overall. Looking forward to sharing that piece of production with the rest of our audience as well. And just in case they want to go check it out, The Bigger Picture, Climate Change by Joel Brown on YouTube as well. So I want to kind of localize this global talk of climate change first and foremost. How do you see the accelerating pace of climate change impacting our local residents in Greater West Bloomfield? Are there any signs we should be attentive to?
Well, you know, a number of years back, we had a tornado in West Bloomfield. That's considered to be an extreme weather event, something you don't have control over while it's going on and until it's finished doing its thing. So we've had 15, 16 tornadoes in the state of Michigan in the past year, and we've already had that many already. So we're having a acceleration in the numbers, intensity of these climate change events. And every township needs to be mitigating and preparing and having a mindfulness so that when these things happen, and it will happen everywhere, sooner or later, we're going to have exposure to these things, that we can manage it, be prepared for it, and try to slow the causes of it so that we have time to actually get it stopped and worsening.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you something right now. If I see a tornado or if I'm around a tornado, I know something's definitely wrong with the climate and the weather and global warming in general. So, yeah, that just seems like one of the most obvious things that we can look out for to know that there's something wrong for us to talk about and to do some things with. So I want to, no, go ahead. Were you going to elaborate a little bit more?
I'm just going to say, well, we've had tornadoes forever, but
right.
It's the point is that they are multiplying in frequency. They are growing in intensity and worsening because of
there you go
the carbon emissions that we are putting up into that human beings are putting up into the atmosphere, and we have to stop this, or it's going to continue worsening until it's no longer a habitable place to live in. So we're the ones that are doing it by mistake, how it happened, but it's happening and it continues to happen, and this is our responsibility now.
Right. Right. No, well said. Well said. And with that being said, if I'm not mistaken, I want you to take this time to correct me on something. When I was consuming some of your content, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned climate tipping points. I want you to elaborate a little bit more on this. Are those tornadoes a sign of that? Explain what climate tipping points mean.
No. A tipping point has to do with a process of life. In other words, look, we're all born, we grow, we're stable, we're healthy. As we age, we start deteriorating and things start happening. When a person or a species or what's called an ecosystem that supports life starts breaking down, what happens is it deteriorates because of the climate or the various conditions in the environment. It can accelerate. And as it accelerates, it all of a sudden accelerates very quickly and went fast. And then it collapses and goes into runaway and breakdown. And that's it. That's the death. So that happens. We know that happens with people. It happens in nature. And our ecosystems that we're dependent on to keep us alive on the planet are deteriorating. And if it crosses, like when you, if you boil water, and it's for a long time, it can be cooking, and all of a sudden it's boiling and it is emitting gas instead from the water.
Correct.
So that's a big change. This is an example. Or you could stack bricks, let's say, not bricks, but block. And you get going up, keeping balance, but all of a sudden the top block breaks down the whole thing and it collapses. That's an acceleration. So when you have the tipping point, it's in a process that we don't want to pass the tipping point, because then you are in danger of going into not only acceleration, but a runaway and breakdown.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm going to be honest. You painted that picture very clear for me and our audience. I want to say that. And I got to be honest, sir, it sounds like extremely bad news, which it is. But is there any good news? Is there any positives that we can take out of this conversation?
Oh, yes. Yes. I think the first thing is, you're absolutely right. It is a cause for anxiety and fear and anger, all those kinds of sadness. And that's a normal human reaction. And part of the response, see, here's the thing. If you want to be in denial to maintain optimism, that's a strategy that's okay as long as you're doing something to stop it. But if you go into denial and do nothing, you don't have a chance. So the real response, instead of denial, which is very dangerous, is to engage it. And the first step with my talk is basically to get people started on what I call level 1 and level 2, which has to do with their home, in their community, with people, their family that they love, and friends, the community, and they have people who will help support them and be participating in activities that make things better. And then the second stage is doing something in the county or in the state. And I will give you a couple suggestions for the audience. When you're ready, I'll give you a couple of things you can do right here in the local area to get yourself involved.
Perfect. Okay, we are going to dive into that. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, local resident and someone who's appointed as leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, Mr. Joel Brown, speaking to climate change, global warming, and his project, The Bigger Picture Climate Change, on YouTube as well. Now, I just want to ask you this real quick before we get into some of those resources and things that people can do.
Sure.
Locally, in our Greater West Bloomfield area, we're known for our bodies of water, our lakes, and things of that nature. What are some of the effects we'll see with, or possibly see with some of our lakes, our bodies of water that we enjoy, due to the causes or the effects of global warming and climate change?
Well, let's take something in a much more constructive way, because there's a lot to explain in the science, and we don't have the time right now.
Okay.
But I do want to say, you've got activities that will engage and improve the water, the air, the land, and one of them is West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. You just go onto the website, wbparks.com. You'll find some things there. And if you need to call up the Parks and Rec folks, they're happy to help you get active. Now, besides that, they're a part of another organization called Turn Oakland County Green. And not only them, but one of the organizations I mentioned in my talk is SierraClub.com. And you put in whatever state that you're in and then the word chapter. So it's SierraClub.com/ we'll say Michigan chapter. And it comes all the chapters in the state of Michigan that you can get involved with. And they do everything from going to the state capitol and talking to the planning, talking to the legislatures, planting trees, working on cleaning up the lakes. If your concern is air pollution, whatever you have an interest in.
Right.
In your personal relationship with nature. And if you don't have a personal relationship with nature, that's critical. You have to realize this is the mother, of us all. And in this regards, it's something sacred about it. Life, nature, mind, animals, human being, all the mammals, millions of species. It's a system, and we have to treat it like it's a living thing, not just something to exploit. You understand? So we talk about that in the talk. And this is a change in attitude. And it's our responsibility now to balance our needs with nature and taking care of it. National parks, you can't take anything out of the park. You can't damage the park. You have to stay on certain trails. The same type of thing. We have to start have an ecological consciousness, they call it, a consciousness of nature in our relationship to it. And if we brutalize nature, as we have been doing, we are going to, it's like being on a limb of a tree. You cut the limb down. Are you cutting the limb? You're going to fall.
Yeah. No, I love the way that you're relating that and making it more personalized as well. A topic that is global, with that being said. And WBParks.org for more information regarding WB Parks, West Bloomfield Parks, and their initiatives and program. Mr. Brown, love everything that you've given us. Appreciate your time. Lastly, before I let you go, I think this is the most important. What message or call to action would you like to share with our Greater West Bloomfield residents to inspire them to take part in the global fight against climate change?
Well, the thing I want to say is that you need to take a look at yourself and what do you love? Is it nature? Is it mankind? Is it your kids or your grandkids? Is it children of all generations? Whatever you love, that gives you the purpose. This is what this is first and foremost about. You do something that you feel is something that's love-worthy. And when you're doing this work to deal with these challenges, you have a purpose, you bring your talents to it, you're working with other people who you're supporting, they're supporting you, and they're admiring you. Listen, you want to have self-esteem and you want to have energy. You don't want to go down the hole doing nothing. That's the most important inspiration is for your mental and physical health and that of your family.
I will 100% agree. Take care of the things that matter most to you and find your why within that, and then we can all have a better economy ecosystem, I should say, and community as well. I want to thank you so much for your time and your extremely valuable information. Once again, local resident who was appointed as a leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, Mr. Joel Brown. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Plenty of keynotes from Mr. Joel Brown and other local experts, including WB Park's naturalist team, all on our website for your reference. Go to civiccentertv.com and click on the On-Demand tab for previous interviews with other naturalists and experts, I should say. Coming up, we have more information on events and people doing great things right here in our local community. We'll get into that coming up. But first, we are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
So much is happening in your community. Join Jake, Tyler, and Kevin for local events and developments on The Splash Live, weekdays at 10 a.m. on CivicCenterTV.com, YouTube, and Facebook.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy, and if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at CivicCenterTV.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Green thumbs. It's time to get planting. The Kego Harbor Community Garden officially opens this Saturday, April 26th, and applications are still being accepted. This is a great opportunity for residents to grow their own flowers, herbs, and vegetables while beautifying our community. Whether they're seasoned or just starting out, now is the time to reserve your space. You can visit kegoharbor.org for more information and to apply. Don't miss your chance to dig into something meaningful this spring in Kego Harbor. Young minds are constantly exploring, and at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, kids now have an interactive way to learn while they play. Civic Center TV's very own, myself I should say, I went inside the children's area to showcase a hands-on feature that's sparking creativity and discovery.
I like it's another activity to do at the library, and we did the matching game, which seemed to be the most fun, right? You matched? Yeah. It gives us another option. Although there's already so many options, this is just another great option to have for us.
The interactive play table offers children a chance to learn through play with activities designed to develop critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. We asked how the interactive play table contributes to the library's ongoing commitment to create innovative spaces for families to connect and grow.
The table has, I think, 12 different options of different games. We've got some math, some science, some geography, and it has things from toddlers up until about age 12, so a wide range.
For families in West Bloomfield, the interactive play table has quickly become a favorite feature of the library's youth services area. By combining fun and learning, it creates an enriching experience that keeps kids engaged and curious.
So it does both of those very well. There's some educational games, and it is very entertaining. The kids will want to come back and play with it more and more.
A wonderful resource right here in our own community in Greater West Bloomfield. Take some time to go over there and pay a visit yourself at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. And you can find out more, WBLIB.org for more information. Spirit of Grace Church in West Bloomfield Township will celebrate its 10th anniversary on Tuesday, May 6th, with a special worship service followed by a reception featuring some light refreshments. And here to tell us more about this very special milestone from Spirit of Grace Church, joining me right here live on The Splash is Pastor Joyce Partica-Stibe. Thank you so much for being here, Pastor.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate that. Congratulations on 10 years, a decade, right here in West Bloomfield. Let's just talk about that first and foremost. How has Spirit of Grace evolved over the past decade?
So Spirit of Grace is a Lutheran Episcopal community. So when it first formed, it was 2 Lutheran congregations, Sylvan Lake Lutheran, and that's the building that it still resides in today. And then Ascension Lutheran came over, and then Advent Episcopal Church was worshiping in the space, and they decided to have worship together over one summer. And they really loved worshiping together, and so they decided to be one community. So really, it's been about combining and finding out who we are as a Lutheran Episcopal community.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that speaks highly of the collaboration too. And like we were just saying, Spirit of Grace stands as a model for interdenominational collaboration, showing how shared faith and mutual respect can bridge traditional divides. And like I said, with me right here live on The Splash from Spirit of Grace, Pastor Joyce Partica-Stibe, also being joined by Senior Warden Josie Baldwin. Thank you both for being here again. And just continuing on with you, Pastor, what milestones stand out most vividly to you as a pastor?
So I've only been with the congregation for 2 years now, so Josie can actually speak better to that.
Perfect. Yes, Josie, please.
So milestones for our little church in West Bloomfield would be how big our small church is in the community. We are so involved in food ministries, whether it's through our diabetic food pantry, our blessing box, our Christmas dinners. We do it all. So it's a big task, and we manage to make it all work.
Okay, that sounds beautiful. And I've heard about some of the food ministries as well. Love to hear about it. So continuing on with you, Josie, in what ways does the church involve young people in its mission and activities?
Sure. So Our parking lot is a school of choice parking lot. And so the West Bloomfield School District uses it for kids that are coming in to go to school. And the buses come there. And we have over 300 students come to our church every day for bus pickup. We utilize that time to engage them in activities. We give them treats, let them know what's going on in the church. We are an elderly church, but we try to get the kids involved in everything that we have to offer. We also work with the schools, West Bloomfield schools, for food drives, so the kids are involved in helping us with that. And then we have some young members at the church that are going through confirmation classes, and it's multi-generational at our church. Everybody's a kid at heart,
Right.
and we all work together.
Love that. And that's what it's supposed to be, working together for the bigger picture, collaborating, blending together, and just doing great things for the greater good. We love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Now, Pastor, reaching back to you, just curious, you mentioned the blending of two denominations or two traditions, if I'm understanding that. What challenges and or successes have arisen from blending these true traditions within a single congregation?
I think the joy of blending these two traditions into a service and into a community is that each community brings a special thing. So some of the challenges have been that each community does things differently, but it's also given us a great opportunity to talk about how we see God working through our community, through our congregation members, and through the people who enter the doors of the church, because quite frankly, not everybody who participates in things is a member of the congregation. And so we've really been able to talk about how God shows up and how God is present in what is happening. And I think that has been both the biggest challenge and the biggest joy about it, is we get to talk about what it's like for us. And we get to have those conversations about how God is showing up and in what ways we want to express that through what we do.
One thing I want you to speak on, just continuing with you real quick, Pastor. I'm aware of some of the things that you all do, but one thing that I love is when a church is actually doing things that impacts and affects the community in a positive way. So can you share examples of how Spirit of Grace's community service initiatives, some of the food ministries and things that you all do have addressed local needs?
So we have a stretch and tone class that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that brings people from the community just to get a little bit of exercise. Most of it is chair oriented, and so people are able to do that. And I think what that does is that brings a sense of community to people. It gathers people in a way that other things don't. And I think it gives people a chance just to get that exercise that they're looking for in a comfortable way. We have quilters that meet in our church once a week.
Yep.
Last year, they donated, I think it was like 150, 160 quilts, and those went all over the world to places that needed them. And I will say most of those people who do that are not members of the church. And so anyone is welcome to that. Our diabetic food pantry is on the third Saturday of every month. And we have several volunteers who come to that. Again, not all who are members of Spirit of Grace. And what I really love about that opportunity is we've had Girl Scout troops come. We've had sports communities come who are looking for service projects hours. We've had high school students who are looking for service project hours. And so that's really been something that has not only gathered the community to volunteer, but has also fed people. We have a blessing box that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't even have to come into the church building to get it. And really what that is we rely on a lot of donations, but there are also some people who just drop off food because that's a place to drop it off. And so again, we've had high school students, and even my son, who is 4 years old, helps stock that on a semi-regular basis. And so that's really a way that we've met that need, not only for volunteering, but also for feeding the community. And we have Girl Scout troops that meet there. AA meets at the congregation. Al-Anon, and I believe Alateen has started to meet there as well. So really, this is a community building that we want the community to use.
Beautiful. First and foremost, I love that. You hit on all the things that we've spoke on in previous interviews, and I wanted the community to know that in its full scope, that you all do a lot right here in the community with a lot considered for the different residents and their needs. So I appreciate you for doing that and explaining that. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, from Spirit of Grace Church, Pastor Joyce Partika-Stipe and Senior Warden Josie Baldwin, talking about the 10-year anniversary celebration in May of 2025. Now, Josie, going to you real quick, I have to ask you, in what ways do you plan to honor the founders and early members of those who made this vision of Spirit of Grace possible?
It's a good question. And when I was thinking about it, I had to go back and think there's still a lot of founders that participate and are members of the church. Some have moved away. Unfortunately, some have passed. But I think that we will honor them in the celebration coming up in a couple weeks by just remembering the work that we did to bring all three churches together, and continue to do that and constantly invite them back to come and see us, those that have moved away and whatnot. So we will continue to honor those founders.
Yes, good and well said as well. And we don't want to hold you all up too much longer. We appreciate your time. But one last question I want both of you to kind of answer, starting with you, Josie, if you don't mind. As you celebrate this 10th anniversary, 10 years, a decade, what hopes and aspirations do you have for Spirit of Grace's next decade of ministry?
Again, thinking about that question, I am looking forward to the next 10 years so that we can continue to bring to the community all that they need and whatever that is and how we can make it work for them, whether it's food or a place to have a meeting, whatever that may look like. I'm looking forward to Spirit of Grace being able to be that place.
Perfect. And you, Pastor?
I think for me, church anniversaries are a lot like driving. We have to know where we've been and what we've been through to understand where we're going. And I think the first and foremost thing is to be rooted into the love of God that we have been given and that we so much want to share with a world who seems to need it so badly. And so I'm looking forward to just continuing to use the gifts and talents that each of the congregation members and community members bring to this space to move us forward into what will hopefully be the next 10 years.
That was beautifully said. You see how the pastor couldn't leave us without dropping some bars. The church is like the car and knowing where. I can't say it like you said it, Pastor. That's why we love to have you. We want to thank you both so much and congratulations again on 10 years in the community. Once again, Spirit of Grace Church Pastor Joyce Partika-Stipe and Senior Warden Josie Baldwin. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, and make sure you go out and celebrate with them. Spirit of Grace Church right here in Greater West Bloomfield, celebrating 10 years of service in our community. West Bloomfield Township's participation in the E-Cities project allows for ongoing evaluation, ensuring that local leaders receive valuable feedback to strengthen future economic initiatives. In the E-Cities 2024 project, West Bloomfield Township was named an honored community compared to communities across the entire state of Michigan. We actually spoke with West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Jonathan Warshay for his reaction to this recognition. West Bloomfield Township's Supervisor, Mr. Jonathan Warshay. Thank you for being here, Mr. Warshay.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm happy to be here.
And we are happy to have you here. We know you are very busy, so we appreciate that. I just want to talk about this in general. This was a very interesting award and recognition that I saw online. What does this E-Cities 2024 recognition mean for West Bloomfield?
Well, what the award means is they've measured data in 54 Michigan counties. They look at property values, property tax information, governmental assets. This year, they also looked at talent, attraction and retention, and efforts to support small business. Okay. And 5 stars means that West Bloomfield is strong in this area and leads with best practices.
Nice. First and foremost, congratulations. That's a beautiful thing to know. Small businesses and businesses, they help with our economic growth. They provide jobs and they just make our economy look good. So to be a 5-star ranked city with that or community, it just speaks volumes. And with that, how do you feel like that reflects our overall economic growth over the past 5 years?
Well, the township has certainly had strong economic growth. We work to encourage new businesses and development within the township. We use diversified hiring techniques. We participate with local colleges and universities and even high schools to spark interest in certain high-demand fields such as police and fire. We often pay the training costs for our candidates, and when we do hire, the employees generally stay a long time as we have very competitive salary and benefits in the area.
Okay. So I once again, like I said, I think that speaks to how great not only is our residents in supporting these businesses, but the resources that are provided for our businesses for this growth. Are there any other specific initiatives or policies that you could speak on that actually help West Bloomfield stand out and receive this type of recognition?
I think, in terms of what's going on now, we're working on our master plan as we speak. We started last year the review of the current plan and how we want to proceed. Residents were asked to participate in it a couple months ago. We had an online survey where they could put areas where they wanted to indicate what they wanted to see in those areas, what type of development, what type of businesses. We're mostly built out in the township. We certainly have lakes and woodlands that we're preserving, but the rest of the buildable area is mostly built. So we're concentrating on vacant areas, vacant buildings and properties to attract those businesses.
Great. And I think it's important to make sure that we are giving and doing pretty much anything that we can to make sure that we are retaining these talented professionals. I want to speak on that coming up. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, Mr. Jonathan Warshay, speaking on West Bloomfield Township recently being named an honored community in the eCities 2024 project by University of Michigan Dearborn College of Business, by the way. Now, kind of picking up on the retaining of the talents, how do you feel like West Bloomfield is working to retain and attract these talented individuals who are starting these businesses? And what industry specifically within our economy are you seeing the most growth in?
Well, there was several questions, so I'll try to answer all of them. In terms of attracting them, we do a lot of online sourcing. I assume most communities do that. There's a lot of word of mouth, social media. In fact, I saw someone on one social media app saying she's a recent graduate of the university in criminal justice and she'd love to work in a police department. So I messaged her and said, West Bloomfield is hiring for police, so, please apply. So, anything we can do to attract talented candidates, we'll do. We have dispatch, police, and fire paramedics. Those are the areas that all the communities in the area are noticing shortages in. And so we unfortunately have to compete with our neighbors to get the best candidates.
Right. Great point right there. And I like that you're meeting people where they are. Like you said, you even went to social media and just responded to a message just to present that opportunity that is actually going on right here. So great way to reach out and find these talented individuals that are looking for these opportunities as well. AI has been a very trending topic of discussion in business and just in general. The use of AI in economic development recently has been helping a lot of economies and communities grow. How has West Bloomfield leveraged AI or technology in general to help support local businesses?
So we haven't really adopted AI yet. We're certainly looking into that. In my last role, I was a project manager, so I'm working to implement those processes in our IT department to help it deliver services more effectively. It's basically each department is a customer of the IT department, so we want to make sure their needs are met. And I'm also working with all of our departments on how our IT department can streamline and improve their operations.
Great, and it's great, and I thank you for being honest about that. Yes, it may not be implemented now, but it's something that we pretty much can't ignore. It is, AI is here, it's here to stay, it's going to continuously grow. So just finding different ways of how can we effectively and efficiently use this to support our government and our local businesses is completely understandable. Thank you for providing that insight with that. And once again, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, Mr. Jonathan Warshay, just talking about West Bloomfield Township being named an honored community in the eCities 2024 project by the University of Michigan Dearborn's College of Business. Just a couple questions before I let you go, Mr. Warshay. I do want to ask just for perspective, right? How does West Bloomfield compare to other communities in Michigan when it comes to job growth and infrastructure and economic growth?
Well, we are one of the top communities for growth, given our size. We keep increasing the number of homes, apartments for residents to move to. And that certainly drives the demand for services and goods from the businesses. So that helps increase the numbers there. We are also one of the safest communities in the state and one of the most affluent. And those are factors that businesses look at when they're looking where to locate or expand.
And I think that's perfect. Once again, speaks to why we were named one of the honored communities in the 2024 eCities project in general. We want to go ahead and let you go, sir, but any additional information that you want to let the community know as far as goals for strengthening West Bloomfield's economy or just anything in general?
Just that our departments are focused on serving the residents and the businesses, and we'll keep working on that and working to make things even better than they are.
And we appreciate everything that you and your office does to help our economy grow and help our community and our local businesses in general. Once again, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, Mr. Jonathan Warshay. We appreciate you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
You can read more about the award from the University of Michigan Dearborn's College of Business on the West Bloomfield Township's Facebook page at WB Township. And keep up with Civic Center TV on all of our digital platforms, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and on YouTube, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Civic Center TV, and of course on our website, civiccentertv.com. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.